Okay, thank you for allowing me to do this. We have a ton to go over, so I'm going to get right to it. And thank you for the extension as well. That really helped. I got a lot of good stuff. At least I hope you'll find it useful. So the first thing I want to get into are the top three factors according to Google, right? Because that's who we're trying to. Hold on one second. One second. Okay, just wanted to turn my phone volume off because that's the main player, right? Most sites, between 70 and 90% of the traffic is Google. My site's generally, well, the site I'm going to show you is generally about. There's a site that I have called it's my demo site. It's where I test things out called interestinganswers.com. It's a little trivia site. You can see here the premise is concisely answering those random questions that pop into your head. So I'm not showing you this to show you that I'm a good developer because I'm not. I'll use this as an example for different things I want to point out. So it's just a bunch of random questions. So yeah, the other day was Groundhog Day. So what is Groundhog Day and where did it come from? So you can see, just kind of go through it. So we'll get into all this. So the top three factors, and depending on the article you read, these can differ a little bit, but this is probably the most consistent article I found. So content is number one. And that's anybody you ask, that's true. They'll agree to that. At least anybody that knows what they're doing will. Metadata. And so metadata is this is a meta description here, right? So that's a sample of metadata. And then performance, and you have some work that needs to be done there. And I can help you with all these. I do a lot of this stuff. Like the schema, I'm not an expert in. Like I'll even use the terminology wrong a little bit. But I've implemented on my site and I have a good idea of how it works. It's an evolving thing, but I can help you with most of this other stuff. Real quick, nobody really knows, obviously, because the algorithm's secret. So this is based on experience, a ton of experience, of best practices, message for any like. Even though there is, well, I guess it's similar to photography. There's no one way to do everything. I guess there's a goal, but everybody has their own different techniques, so it's kind of similar. And then the outdated techniques don't work. There's no magical solutions anymore. The keyword stuffing, the buying traffic, the buying the backlinks, that kind of stuff. Now, it doesn't mean you can't sprinkle that stuff in, the buying the backlinks a little bit. Some people still do it. But my concern is the algorithm is getting, the Google search algorithm with the AI and the machine learning and whatever you want to call it, is getting so good. It's John Moo, the lead search guy at Google, even said about a week ago, their algorithm's so good at picking up on artificial linking that to me it's just kind of getting to the point where it's too dangerous. Because not only does it not work in most cases, now it can work in the short term, but eventually Google's going to figure it out, whether it's a human, whatever. And then when that happens, if they do, you're going to get penalized. Recovering from a penalty is extremely difficult. It's a multi-month process, sometimes multi-year process. So I don't think it's worth the risk. So we'll get into that a little bit. And the goal of SEO is to drive traffic to your website, which leads to sales, obviously. In your case, leads to selling your wedding photography services. So there's the on page and the off page. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with those. But a lot of stuff I'm going to tell you isn't directly going to get you to the top. You might not understand how it's going to get you, and you might. Some people don't. May not understand how. You might be wondering, how is this going to get me to the top of the Google search rankings? Well, the way I do it, and it works, I can assure you of that, is you need to get traffic to your site. Any kind of legitimate traffic whatsoever, and you need to get people using your site, because the more people come to your site for whatever reason, whether it's like reading content or whatever, to sign up to your mailing list, whatever, the higher you're going to start to rank for when people are searching for a wedding photographer in Melbourne. I think you're in Melbourne. And I'm going to pause it real quick. Okay, so a lot of the stuff I'm going to go over is to just increase traffic to your website. So you can imagine if you're getting 1,000 visits today for your website to read your blog posts or any type of photography guides or whatever, you're going to start ranking higher for people that are in Melbourne looking for a wedding photographer. So just keep that in mind, because when I go over stuff, you might be wondering, how is that going to put me higher in the Google search rankings? It's because it's traffic. The more visitors you have, the higher you appear in the Google search rankings. And then it takes time. It takes about 6 months. Could be 2 months, could be a year, but on average about 6 months once you start doing a lot of proactive stuff to to start ranking a little higher. So you can see this is that blog I mentioned right here. And this isn't really a big money maker. Like I have these Amazon affiliates and I have these little ads here. I make a little bit of money, but that's not the point. I'm just a trivia buff, and I love testing out new plugins and SEO techniques and seeing like what I'm telling you now. I can't do it on my client websites, but I can do it, test things out on a website that I work with to make sure it works. So the point of this here is do not look at things from a week to week or a month to month perspective. You'll end up thinking things are broken and you'll start changing things up, and that's going to do nothing but confuse Google. So you can see here, if you would have looked at this from, what is that, about December to April, I mean, it actually went down. Maybe it went up a little bit actually, but you can see things aren't always going to go up. You need to look at things from, generally from 2 to 5 month increments. Now, if the last 5 years you've been getting 1,000 visitors per day in December, and then this December you start getting 200 visitors a day, you have a precedent to base it on, so you know something's wrong. But if you don't have that precedent, just don't panic. As long as the trend is going up over time, and then when you have these down slopes, these, like if you go to here, you go, wow, that's a big drop. Then here's a drop. Then here's a drop. So at here, you might panic and change things up. And generally, if you're just doing everything honestly and writing good content and doing things on the up and up, and you're not doing any black hat stuff, just stick with it. I've never seen a website totally go up. Now, my blog, I used to write, 2 to 3 pieces of content per week. Then for a few months, I went back to 1 piece of content per week. And lately, it's just once a month, just because I don't have time. Ideally, between, once a week, something like that is fine. So I bring that up to tell you this. If I would have stuck with it, I'm pretty sure I could have gone up more like this. And a lot of the companies I work with, the trend charts do increase a little more here, but it just depends on the niche. It depends on the target audience. Like if you're selling Jamaican jerk dog biscuits, there's not a huge market. I mean, there's a market for it, I'm assuming, but you understand the traffic. There's a ceiling to how much traffic you can get on that, and rather than if you were selling like mobile phone cases. I mean, there's a limit, of course, but the opportunity is a lot greater and something a lot more of a commodity type thing. So that's that. And so put that up here. This is the formula I really use for blogs, for the e-commerce sites I have, the ones I work with. You create the content, you promote it, paid and unpaid, then you deliver it on a really good looking website and make sure the website's fast. Your website does look really good, it's just slow. So that's something you want to work on, and we'll get to that. Now, you might be wondering what to write about. So if you search for wedding photography, based on, this is called a seed word or a seed phrase. Based on this seed word, these are things people are actually searching on for wedding photography, right? So based on this seed word, these are phrases that people are searching on based on this seed word. Wedding photography prices, near me, contract packages. Now you could just do another one, wedding photography tips for trip. So this is good ways to get content ideas. You just type all this stuff in. Okay, tips for brides, tips for beginners, tips for camera settings, PDF, blah, blah, blah. However, that's very cumbersome. So what you do, you go to a website called Answer the Public. I've already done the search. You can get 2 free searches per day. I think I have 1 more left. So based on wedding photography, this uses the Google Auto. So these are things people are actually searching on. So what does a wedding photography cost? That's a really good content idea. What are some different styles? That's a good content idea. Is wedding photography art? That's subjective, but it's a good content idea. What is photojournalistic wedding photography? That's, I guess, a good idea, whatever that is. Now, you don't have to do, all your blog posts don't have to be related to wedding photography. It's anything in your general vague area. So like wedding photography, weddings, marriage photography. So let's do this. So just photography in general. So let's go back, Answer the Public, and do weddings. And I think I have 1 more search left. And then I'll show you how to qualify what results. Let me make sure I'm recording. Okay. So look, this brought back a lot. How much to tip at a wedding? That's really good. How weddings are sexist? Don't even know what that means. I can understand that, I guess. How are weddings paid for? How weddings are celebrated around the world? Okay, so let's do this. Let's click on this one. So this will bring up this search result in Google. So this is how I mean, you could write about this if you wanted to, but this is how I qualify them. I have a toolbar called Mozbar, which you can download for free, Mozbar. And what you do, you look at the first 5 or so search results and look at what's called the domain authority. The more authoritative, the high, like for example, Google would be 100, Microsoft would be like 99, Yahoo would be like 92. Now, if you get down to like Joe's Garage in Melbourne, like Joe's Mechanic Shop in Melbourne, that would be like 23 or whatever. So you want to find results that generally, no matter what, most questions have been answered. A lot of them have. So these generally you're going to have 1 or 2 that are high, like 80s, 90s, 70s. But see, you want to find some. See, these are all 80. This 49 is okay, but there's a lot. And this is page authority. That's specific to the page. I normally pay attention to domain authority. So this isn't a good content idea because all the results are coming from very Business Insider, brides.com. So it's going to be hard to rank for that. So let's go to another one. When were weddings invented? This sounds like something that would be good for my blog. So 81, 92, 98, 95, 47. Okay, that's not that good either. Let's keep going. Oh, by the way, I don't plan all this out when I do these presentations. Like you might be wondering, why didn't I just have this prepared? I've gotten a lot of feedback when I do these, and people like hearing my thought process, like seeing how I do this stuff. So hopefully it's not too cumbersome. What happens to wedding when it rains? That's good. Weddings when to do what? Weddings when pregnant. Weddings when parents are divorced. Weddings when you have no friends. Okay, let's see. It's kind of a bizarre one. These are all still pretty high. Normally I can find some pretty quick. Let's keep going. What were weddings like in the 1800s? I bet this one will be better. See, 36, 20. So this is something. So first of all, these are low domain authorities. Now you want to see if the question's actually answered. So it looks like it's kind of answered here. So it looks like these are answering it, but they're very low domain authority. So this is something. So what you'd want to do, you want to go into the first 5 results, get the word counts of each. And now I'm starting to change my mind on this. Google, like as of like last week, I used to recommend everything over 1,500 words, but I'm starting to see that the study that was done on that, the whole correlation doesn't equal causation things, and Google is hammering home word count doesn't matter. But I still would not do anything less than 500 words. Now, on my website, I would, because the point of it is to be concise, right? And I always answer everything up in the first sentence because humans do review Google search results. So I can imagine if a human, they're called search engine evaluators. So if somebody gets this and they read mine and they can see I kind of answer it right at the top, I bet a human would go, okay, that's good, because there's nothing more annoying to having to go 8 paragraphs down to get the answer to a simple question. So that one's kind of a more complex one. Let me do this. This is a very, very short one. So how many possible license plate combinations are there? See, look at this. Boom, boom, boom. Right to the point. So I like to, let me go back here. So I used to take that into account, so I'm kind of up in the air on that. But what you want to do is not that, not that, not that. Okay. So if the top results have low domain authorities, now you're generally going to have like a 90 or an 80, generally at least one somewhere, but the majority of them under 50 or so. And preferably the question isn't answered, but in this case it kind of is, but that's still okay. I mean, the perfect one would be if all results have a domain authority less than 50 and the question's not answered and the result has a word count of under 500. That would be the perfect thing to write for, but generally most questions are answered, so I generally just look at the domain authority. So this would be a good content idea. So you want to write that down, and that's something you could write on. So I'm giving you these notes so you can see it. What do we got? We got 20 pages. I mean, I just got so much stuff for your website. So no need to take notes unless you want to take notes, of course. Let me change the font to 16. Make sure it's all nice and pretty. Okay. Also, Quora is a gold mine for questions asked because people are actually asking them. So what I would do, for example, photography. What are the best online resources for loading photography? That would be really good. Now, how you could do this, once you get a lot of content built up, of course, you could, the way I do it, I don't post it from a company account. I'm just a user, I'm just a person, you know what I mean? I would say like, oh, I generally use these 4 or 5 sites, so you don't want to use just yours because it's going to seem spammy. But in your response, you do want to, okay, of course, plug your site and just don't act like it's not yours. Of course, you don't want it to be spam. It needs to be a valuable site with a lot of good information. So that's kind of how you do that. And you also just don't want to. You also want to comment on other things on Quora. So if anybody sees your profile, they don't see you plugging your site over and over again. So that's that. Let's keep looking. How can one become a better photographer? So you write a piece of content on this and then link out to it, the same kind of thing. And you can see there's not really, wait. Okay, so there are some good answers. So this isn't, you could add to it, that's fine, but this is what I like to do. I like to go to past week, the past day, because these generally don't have answers. Are monorail view cameras still used in commercial photography? I don't know what that is, but that could be a good content idea. Link out to your blog post. All this stuff. Then you can even do like past week. A lot of past month things don't have answered. And then also you could do weddings. Let me close the Moz bar. Do second weddings tend to be cheaper? Whatever that means, that would be, I guess, interesting. How often do people crash weddings? And if you go back to my webpage, I don't know the answers to a lot of these questions. I'm a smart guy, but I'm not like a genius. So what I do, I just research these and to get my word count up and to make me seem more, and to give my page more, not authority, more legitimacy. I do these sources, and these are also good external link. Google loves external links because it shows that you're part of the web ecosystem. So if somebody reads through this, goes, well, that's cool, but how do I know it's actually true? They can see I sourced these 3 sites. So I normally just combine 3 sites that answer the question because this website didn't fully answer the question to my satisfaction. This one, so I combine it to an answer that I think is satisfactory. And I also put this interesting trivia here. You can do interesting facts. Actually, yeah. So that's just another way to get some word count up. Indian weddings? That would be interesting. What do Punjabs eat at weddings? So that's Indian. And that's fine too. You can do anything. You know what I mean? So let's do past week. Will the trend for extravagant weddings fade? That's interesting. Well, to me, it's not, but somebody is searching it, right? Why is there a trend of big fat weddings? I guess that goes to that movie. What was it? My Big Fat Greek Wedding or something? Let me get a sip of water. So this is all good stuff. You could just search photography, weddings, anything you could think of related to your website. Now you could also look in like subreddits related to photography. So let's just do this. Is there a subreddit for weddings? Yeah, look at this. Boom. Same kind of thing. So this is these are all backlinking opportunities. Now I think these links are also there's follow and there's do follow and no follow. No follow means you don't get the link juice from Google. Do follow means you do, but don't get carried away with that. Some people don't do a link because it's quote unquote no follow, but it's kind of stupid because any link is a possible visitor to your website. Any visitor to your website is going to increase your domain authority, right? As long as they stay on your website and use it. So don't get too hung up on do follow and no follow links. So just look through this. This would be a good place to post pictures. Now, every picture I posted, I would maybe not watermark it, but put your company name down here. And specifically, I would put Melbourne, Australia, because if it's just this and somebody in Melbourne, Australia sees this photo, they might just go, oh, okay, like if it's a bride. But if they see down here, company name Melbourne, Australia, they might go, oh, this looks like a great photographer and they live near me, and they might reach out to contact you. And you can sprinkle these in with your an ID of your company name ID and then also a personal ID, and just do the same thing, same kind of thing you did on Quora. So that's it. Then any article, like if you're Googling something like a technique or something, and your web result doesn't fully answer the question, that's a signal in your mind that that's something you would want to write on. Because if you can't get the answer, there's somebody else out in the world that can't get the answer. And then document every idea. I guarantee you, I have hundreds of pieces of content ideas on my to-do list. But right now, if you told me to come up with a good content idea, I don't have any in my head right now. Like any. So what I do when I'm driving, I have my, my phone with OK Google, OK Google, set a reminder to remind me about writing about that topic about computer hard drives tonight at 7 p.m. Now, I'm not going to write the content tonight at 7 p.m., but once that alert pops up, I'll add it to my list of things to do. So just anytime something pops into your head, I do that because when I'm driving, like I can't write things down while I'm driving. So you just want to make sure everything's documented, because I guarantee, like just think in your head right now, tell me five good content ideas. Like think about that. I can't think of five. But if you have a list to go back to, you can go, wow, I'm glad I wrote that down. And then things you're asked over and over again. Now it's a lot easier to rank for things that are much less broad. So for example, to rank for photographer, it's going to be extremely difficult. To rank for wedding photographer, it's still going to be difficult, but it's going to be easier. To rank for Australia wedding photographer is going to be a little bit easier. So you want to, and then Melbourne, Australia for wedding photographer, easier. Now this is where these start to get interesting. You could create landing pages for these things. So even though, like, you will do a nighttime wedding, I'm sure, but if you go to your page, this is how you can see what Google's indexed on your site, then domain name. Whoops, did not mean to do that. So let's go back. So, whoops, what happened there? Okay, so if I search for night, there's nothing, like you have nothing about a offering for nighttime wedding. Now, of course you would do that, but you got to keep in mind, people search for this type of stuff, right? So if you're not mentioning, if you don't have landing pages for this kind of stuff, even though you do it, obviously it's not going to show up in the search results. So look, 2,700 people a month are searching for this. And that's just from Google AdWords, as I understand it. So it's fairly popular. And this is from a extension called Keywords Everywhere, which is over here. So that's that. Now also, like, beach wedding, I don't think you have any pages dedicated to these niche keywords. So you can imagine people are searching on this stuff. Let's see what else I had. Yeah, so Melbourne, if somebody searched for Melbourne, Australia beach wedding photographer, if you had a landing page dedicated to a beach wedding, you're definitely going to show up higher than if you did not have that landing page. So you need to have landing pages for all these niches. And also I put drone. You're not doing any drone stuff. And that's, I don't even know if you know like how to do photography from drones, but that might be something. And I know that's a big business decision. It's not just, putting a tweak on a website. Like from based on the research I've done from your competitors, I didn't list them up there. I don't think any of them are doing drone photography. So you always want to look for things to set you apart. So you'd create a landing page for that if it's something you could do. You know what I mean? You always want to look for ways to make you better, to stand out from your competition. And of course, put your keywords at the top of every homepage and in the H1s. And then the keywords in your meta descriptions too, which that's the thing that shows up in the Google search results. This is the word count stuff I'm thinking about removing. Ideally about 1,000 words I think is good. The SEO is ever evolving. I still just say do at least 500 words for everything. But you don't want to increase to 2,000 words if something if something requires 800 words, don't extend it to 2,000 words because that's just annoying. And if a human evaluator comes through and they can see you're stretching and stretching and stretching, I'm sure they're going to lower your search rank, your page rank or whatever Google calls it nowadays. Now, the thing about search evaluators is Google has said that I believe they have said they don't take their rating, their findings don't factor into the search rankings, but I can't imagine that's true. Like, why else would they have them? So now also, if you go to places like websites, there's always free ebooks. Now the reason they do that is to build mailing lists and to drive people to your website, of course. Now I'm not talking about like 200 pages, like a 10-page PDF. Like, now let me show you this. So on my website, And again, I'm not bragging. This is not a pretty website. I have this little free newsletter here. Now, I don't get a lot of people signing up for it, maybe like one a week, because it doesn't stick out. And I'm not, people will be prone to give you something, in this case, their email address, if you give them something in return. If you're not giving them anything, they're not prone to sign up for it, unless they're very, very interested. So what you would do, you would create like a 10-page ebook. You would advertise it over here, or like a pop-up or something. Even though pop-ups are annoying, they do work. And, some ideas I thought of are how to pick a right wedding venue in Australia. Now, you want to put Australia specifically in there because that's what I call a title modifier, or what do I call it? Is it a title modifier? It's just like putting the words like these are modifiers, best or 2020, stuff like that. Because what I did here, how many World War II veterans are still alive? Up until a few months back, I just had it this. I added 2020 and I get a lot more traffic on it. Now, because people might do this, many World War II veterans are still alive. If they do that, you're going to rank for it because that's in your title. But if you have 2020, that's an extra keyword that many others don't have, right? Yeah, it's not ranking here. I think that one ranks better like in on Bing for whatever reason. Out of curiosity, let me see. Yeah, here it is right here. It used to be higher, and it used to be on page 1 of Google. I don't know what happened. No big deal, right? But I wonder, out of curiosity. Oh, I didn't even do 2020. Okay, so I bet this will rank higher now. Yeah, look, see? Now it's the first result below position 0. It's going to be hard to beat position 0, even though I do sometimes. But you can see here, just because I added that modifier. So that's very, very important. And then, of course, when you do it, you have to set a calendar reminder to make sure you go and update them at the end of the year. Anytime I add something with a modifier in it, I create a Google Calendar entry. Make sure you update World War II post, and I set it for like December 26th or something to make sure I update it. Now, when you do it, you don't want the URL to be this, because eventually it's going to be 2021. And what's going to happen is it's still going to say 2020 up there. Now, it's going to look bad. Google might not. Bottom line, it doesn't look good at a minimum. So what you do, you don't want to have to redirect to 2021 or have it show 2020 in 2021. So you just want to update the title and the meta description and stuff like that. So that is that. And these are things you can try them. If it try it without Australia, try it with Melbourne. Maybe not Melbourne. That's too limited. So how to pick the right wedding venue, top 10 wedding photography hacks. I found this. It actually looks like a template. You probably have to buy it. I'm not sure. How a client guide can help your photography business plus free template. So this is kind of what I was talking about. This is their idea of a free giveaway. So you might want to look at that. 10 things to ask a wedding photographer before hiring. I think that's really good. And then etc. And then this is how to use an email marketing for wedding photographers. So you want to read through all this. So it's pretty cool. Okay, now if you search, this is interesting. So wedding checklist. That's that. Now, this is a little more niche. Look, boom. Now, what also, even if somebody doesn't type Australia wedding checklist, because they're coming from Australia, look at this. Now, this is a totally different thing. And they don't have 2020 in their title. So the ultimate Australian wedding, and it doesn't, wedding checklist for 2020 would be perfect. Because, so even if somebody searches, for, maybe you don't want to limit it to Australia. Again, these are things you'll just have to test out. So even if somebody just types this, because they're coming from Australia, yours is likely to show up more so than it would be if like me coming from America, right? And then internal and external links are huge. Make sure you have internal links. Make sure similar pages are linking back to each other. And then make sure you have external links because that shows Google you're not like a silo. You're not trying to keep people on your website. And then don't plagiarize or duplicate. If you duplicate, Google's gonna get it's called keyword cannibalization. It can get to a point where Google doesn't know what piece of content to display, and then plagiarize. If you plagiarize, you're going to get dinged, so you don't want to do that. And then I don't put anything unless it goes through the grammar checker called Grammarly. It's a lot better than word processing spell checkers and grammar checkers, or you could use something like Hemingway. Now, also once a day, I go to a piece of content and I proofread it and I click update. The reason I do that is because it's a signal to Google that this piece of content's fresh. So even if you don't change anything, proofread it, hit update. If two pieces of content are ranked the exact same by Google, which would never happen, but for this, so let's just play along with me, and yours is updated yesterday and the other one hasn't been touched for 3 years, you're more than likely going to show up. You will show up higher than theirs. And then you can outsource content writing to Fiverr, but iWriter is a really good service. You can, have a piece of content written for like $15, something like that. So you just want to look into that. And yeah, don't let content get outdated. So now, let me get a sip of water. Schema kind of gives context to your site, gives Google context to like what the web page is about, what the website is about. So if you do like pizza recipe, Google's displaying like a lot of times it'll have step 1, step 2. It's because it knows it's not just a bunch of text. These are recipes, so display them for recipes. These are ratings for the recipe, so display these stars. This is all schema type of stuff. So if you look at your website and your competition's not doing a good job doing anything either, really, so that's good news. Let me go back. So you're not using WordPress, I don't believe. If you did, a lot of this can be easily done. I couldn't really find out easily I think yours might just be somebody actually hand coded it. You can see you're not doing anything, right? That's not good. What you want to do is, like, let me give you an example. Like Best Buy is like a computer store here, right? Best. It's a national, they sell appliances, TVs, computers. I don't know what the equivalent is over there. So you can see here, let me do this. Printer. Let me just pull this up. Okay, so you can see here, look, so this is the website. Whoops. Best Buy is an organization. This is the homepage. These are their social channels. This is the phone number. English language is spoken. But if you do it for like one of their product pages, there's like something called product schema. So if you see here, so by doing this, it's more likely to show, I think it links into like these little can't think of the word, not rich text windows, but whatever, these little areas. And then also, this is Google Merchant Center stuff, but you kind of get the idea. It puts context behind this stuff. So you can see here, so look, product, description of the product, the model, the whatever that is, the value, the price right here. So it gives context as to what it is. Now, what you want to do is you want to implement local business schema. You're telling Google you're a local business, you're a professional service, and then for your photographs, you could even use the photograph schema, right? Now, a lot of this it's very new. It's all still evolving. I don't think professional service is really that popular yet. It may not even be recognized, but it is. If you go, this is schema.org, the homepage for anything and everything schema. Anything here generally is something that will be like will be widely accepted. So you want to look in this so you can see how to implement it. Now, with this little how to use schema for local SEO purposes. So you just kind of look through here and get an idea. Now this is what the code looks like. In WordPress, you can just use plugins and it's all pretty easy to do this. So just kind of read through here. So those are that's things you want to investigate. Now your website performance has issues. Let me look at, make sure we're recording. And we are, what are we at here? I was going to look at the time, but I can't. Weird. Okay, so your website performance is not good. And remember, this is a huge ranking signal. So it loaded in 7.7 seconds. So anything over 12 seconds, don't pay attention to these scores because if you want to know why not to pay attention to these scores, let me know. I think I put a little article in here. Yeah, just read through that if you want, but just trust me on this. Pay attention to the load time. That's all you need to worry about. It's 7.7 seconds on that synthetic test, and it's 10.3 seconds on that synthetic test. So all the tests that I ran, it's generally between 6.5 and 13. Now, anything over 12 is ridiculously bad. Anything under, I would say, 7 is kind of in the mediocre to acceptable range. Anything under 5 to 6 is good, and anything under 3 is really good. Google wants websites to get under 2, but that's really, really difficult with all of the scripts and stuff people are using nowadays, but it's not impossible. I don't think it would be difficult for you to get under 5, which would be good. Now, your main problem is your website's too big. You have too much stuff on it, so it's 5 meg. The average website's about 3 meg, I think. Let me see. Yeah, 3.25 meg. It's not a noticeable difference on desktops as much as a mobile. Let me get a sip of water. So, I mean, my background is web performance, security, stuff like that. I mean, I've been doing this for years, so I can help out here. You're not deferring any of your JavaScript. It means just loading it towards the end or loading it simultaneously while the web page is loading. You're not doing any caching, which speeds things up. You're not minifying your JavaScript, which reduces the size of the code. So, I mean, the smaller it is, the quicker it loads. So it removes like line breaks and spaces and stuff like that were not needed. And then your images definitely aren't optimized, which we'll get into. And then caching stuff. You're not using a CDN, which sometimes they help, sometimes they don't. At least I don't think you are. Like Cloudflare has a free one you could look into. I'm going to pause it real quick. Okay. It's something that the CDN is something, sometimes it speeds websites up, sometimes it actually slows them down. It's very weird. So it's something you would just want to test out and see if it actually helps. So there's all kinds of things you could do. Now look on this is a waterfall chart. Again, I don't even pay attention to this stuff really. So let's do this. So this is a waterfall chart. So you can see here, you want a lot of little lines like this, so this is some CSS. This is some JavaScript. So this JavaScript took a half second to load. This light yellow means it's waiting, and this little darker yellow means it's loading. You don't want a lot of long wait lines like this. So I think, it's okay to have them every so often. Your problem is all of these. Look how long these are. Everything should kind of load like this. Boom, 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 boom. And then you're going to have, a few lines that are like this, and that's understandable. But your problem are all these images. It's okay to have images, of course, but the problem with yours, they're not optimized. This is 36K. That's pretty small. 36K. 8K. Well, looked at them early. Yeah, 169K. You want to try to get everything under 100. I can do that for about 70% of the images. And if not, everything under 300. So that one's small. So, well, that's not an image there. 82K, 106K. So for 850K. So these are just loading really slow. Want to find out, and it could be other things. The server's probably having to process so much other stuff that it's causing these things to slow down. So this is your biggest problem here. And then you have these 302s, these redirects here. I don't know why you're using a GIF. That's pretty old school. That's an image file type, an image container. And then there's a redirect here, which is some advertisement stuff, which that may be just have to be that way. But so this is a big problem. Get this fixed and your website's going to speed up. Now, I should have put this on here. So, I might actually put this. Okay, I got it below. There's a very cool free tool you can use called Inspectlet. So what it is, you put a little JavaScript on your website, and it'll actually record people using your website, right? So you can see this person was using Chrome, spent 39 seconds on my website reading this post. So let's see what they do. So you can see here's how long. So that's them navigating. This is their mouse up here. A lot of times you can see them moving their mouse. So this blank space is an ad. This service doesn't display the ad for whatever reason. You can watch them at 2 times the speed, 4 times the speed, 8 times the speed. I normally watch it 2. The others are just way too fast. So let's go find another one. Let's go find one that's a little bit longer. 1:30. So you can see a lot of times I like when they move their mouse like this because you can actually see what they're reading. So why this is good, you can see how people are using your site. Are they getting stuck in certain places? Now, the big thing with this, you can see errors. You can see things that don't look right. Now, you might think, well, they look right on your laptop. Well, the problem is you have one laptop with one browser, with one operating system, with one set of very unique extensions. There's people from all around the world using millions and millions of different types of combinations. So you need to be aware and see if anything's broken. Now, why this is important, if your website's broken and you're not aware of it and people come to your website and hit the back button, that's a signal to Google that your website's not any good. And if your website's not any good, it's not going to rank you high in the search rankings. So this is really, really important stuff. So I don't watch, you get 50 free per day. I don't watch 50 per day. It's too much. On Friday, I'll spend about 30 minutes and go through these and watch about 50 per week. Even if you can watch 10 per week, it's something you definitely want to do. And you can take notes over here like, okay, fonts look messed up. There's multiple times I've seen my web page look really bad from like I had this little login stuff appearing at the top of the screen to some people. It wasn't happening to me, but it was happening to them. So I had to go in and research it, and I found the issue and I resolved it. So you can see this is the Chrome version on Mac. So I would emulate that and see if I could reproduce the problem. If I could, I knew that was the problem. And also screen size emulation, right? So you might be specific to the screen size. So these are things you definitely want to do. Also, there's a session called Service User Bob. I run these once a month on all my websites. You can do 20 sessions that are 1 minute each for $1 each. I have a video here saved somewhere. So basically, you give an instruction like, okay, go to my website, tell me what you like, what you don't like, or navigate to reserve a meeting, an appointment with me to discuss a wedding. How would you do it? Give me your thoughts as you speak out loud. So I saved this one. So I did it for this video. Okay, so I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this, but the instruction I gave to her is to find a question on the homepage that interests you and read through the answer and give your thoughts in general. So what she did, I'm just going to fast forward to the part. Let me just let it play for 20 seconds.
Why?
So I don't know if you could hear that, but she found a spelling error. Now, Google takes grammar, it takes spelling into account. So that means a very minor thing, but I find stuff all the time. And I find things all the time like people saying, you know what, this is annoying. This color scheme is annoying. Or they'll point out like, you know, for some reason the Stay Connected is black and all these other are purple. Just things that I didn't even see. Or like things look broken. So again, you see broken things, but you want to get people's feedback on your website. If you're not going to do this stuff, I don't want to sound like, I hate saying that. In order to be serious, you have to do this stuff. You just have to do these monthly things. Or maybe every 2 months, whatever, every 3 months. You need to see how people are interacting with your site. So at a minimum, do Inspectlet, but I would definitely once a month do 20 of these. Now you can do, 10-minute sessions, but it's going to cost you a lot more money. So it's called User Bob. It's a really good service. I have nothing to make by you using it, even though I wish I did because I referred so many people to it, and apparently they do a lot of good business. So definitely, now you can emulate. If you don't like, for example, you can say at Browserling, go, okay, show me this website using Internet Edge version 2, whatever the heck the new version, whatever the version is, on Windows 7, and let me see what it looks like. So you can emulate those things on Browserling. There's all kinds of other emulation type sites you can use. So, and then Screaming Frog. So let me pause it real quick. Okay, so Screaming Frog is a site scanner. It's amazing. So I did yours, and you have some non-indexable stuff, and I think when we chatted, we kind of figured some of these out. You might have done this on purpose. Um, so this, I can see this is a copy, so I can see why you probably wanted to know index that. But box of fine print. So let's see, why is that no index? Meaning no index, meaning you don't want Google to index it. So maybe you don't, but I can see if you go into the page source, I think you have it set here. Well, I thought you did. Huh. So that one's probably maybe index, no index somewhere else. I don't know why that. The one I looked at while I was testing, it was no indexed here in the code. I don't know what's going on. So that's something, and this tool isn't 100%. I mean, I don't think see what, that's weird. Just want to look at all these here. Make sure you don't want them to know. Oh, I'm sorry. These are redirects. So that's why these are no index. That's fine. But like this one. Okay, copy, that makes sense. So this looks like it's some kind of copy, so that makes sense. But like wedding day supplies. Like here, winter wedding. That's another niche. Winter weddings, right? Beach weddings, winter weddings. So I think this is what I saw, where it was specifically set to no index. I don't know what I'm thinking, but okay. You just need to figure out what's going on there. If you don't want them no index, if you want them no index, that's fine, but just be aware of it. And no. Now your crawl depth has issues. You want everything to be available within probably, ideally 3 clicks, but at least 5 clicks of the home page. You have a lot of pages. It takes, well, this is a redirect, so no big deal here, but it takes 19 clicks to get to this. Let's do this. It takes 12 clicks for the Screaming Fog spider to get to this page. So you need to make sure. So you can see here, if you go to site structure, it's pretty good. See, all these are 1 to 2 clicks, 3 clicks, 4 clicks. And you have a lot that are 10 plus clicks. So you want to go through each of these and find out why it's taking 13 clicks to get to this. Maybe it's not in a menu item, something like that. Or maybe the spider just didn't do a good job of finding a way to it. That's possible too, even though that's generally not true. You can also sort by word count if you want to go look at things that are under 500 words. Or whatever, 500 words or whatever, 300 words, 1,000 words, 2,000 words. And so this one is 354 words. That's a copy, so let's do this. The best wedding venues on the Morton Peninsula. Whatever that is. Whoop, I think I deleted it. So you go here, and you can see the word count. It's not that good. It's a lot of pictures, which is fun. It's good. I'm pretty sure word count takes all this into account too, so it's not 100% accurate, but it'll give you a good relative idea. So that's that. You got some 404s, which are broken links. Make sure you don't have any flash, I don't think, which is good. Right, okay. Okay, so you have some 404s, which are broken links. You want to go take care of all this. I'm exporting all this for you. So on this page, this link is broken. Now, Google's all about user experience. If you have a bunch of broken links on your website, Google's not going to display it that high because it's a bad user experience. That makes sense, right? Same thing with redirects. Redirects aren't nearly as important because you eventually get to where you want to go, but it could slow things down. These external redirects aren't as big of a deal, but when you get to like internal redirects like this, so on these home pages, this redirect to this. Okay, so you're redirecting box of fine prints to your home page. So that's probably a link you used to have. I would just 404 that link and tell Google to reindex it so it sees it's no longer a good link. Because that doesn't make much sense. A lot of people suggest doing this redirect the home page if you don't have a link anymore. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why people suggest that. They're afraid of broken links, I guess. But it's okay to have broken links as long as they're supposed to be broken, right? So you want to go through all these redirects and take care of that. Majority of them are HTTP, see? Boom, going to HTTPS. External, not a big deal. But again, if everything's the same, and with another competitor, and it's never going to be the exact same, that's crazy. But if it is with you and a competitor and you have a bunch of external redirects and they don't have any, they're going to rank higher than you. Would be a very low priority. Not the internal redirects, but the external redirects. But it's something you eventually want to get to. Now your duplicate page titles. This is just confusion to Google. So if you have your page titles, see, these are the page titles to all your pages. Guess that's pretty obvious. You have these duplicate page titles on the, I wish I could zoom in, on these 4 pages. So you want to go take care of that. And it looks like these might be those copies. Oh yeah, these are these no indexed ones here too. So okay, so that's probably pages you were working on, but you want to be aware of it and make sure that it's not something that's screwing you up. Now you do have missing meta descriptions. A lot of these things, I do so much stuff. A lot of these things are just notes to me to go and look at stuff. You know what I mean? No way I could possibly remember all this stuff. 20 pages worth of ideas or issues or whatever. So if you don't have a meta description, Google's going to determine what to use. Well, I thought you had, let me see. Okay, you don't have any. I thought you did. Let me do this. Missing page titles. No, okay. You have some meta descriptions that are longer than 155 characters, which means it's going to truncate. Now, what's annoying, Google's in the sometimes it allows like 300 characters, so it gets to be kind of annoying. But if you want to go trim these down a little bit, at least to under 300, or whatever it is, just make sure whatever the meta description is, it explains. It's going to make the link desirable to click on. Because if it's just text, dot, and it doesn't explain what the link is, nobody's going to click on it. If nobody clicks on it, nobody clicks on your results, Google's going to think that it's not a good result and probably put you lower in the search rankings. So you want to go look at all that. Let me see, page titles over 60. Okay, you don't have any. I don't know why I put that here. Yeah, so you're also using meta keywords. This is something people would do like 10 years ago. Now, Google just flat out ignores these nowadays, but these can actually hurt you in Bing. These can actually penalize you in Bing. I would go and just get rid of all these meta keywords. Not a huge deal right now because they are relevant, but I would just go get rid of them eventually. And it's only, now again, it seems like this is a lot of work to do all this stuff, and it is, but just break this up, week by week, month by month, and then, after, months and months and months, you'll get all this done. It's just, there's a lot to do. It's not something you'll be able to fix in 2 weeks. Now the images, you have, most images, let me pause it real quick. Okay. Now you do have large images. So like I said, I like to get everything under 100K if possible, but I can get about 95% of images under 300K, about 70% under 100K. So let's take this one here, 1.9 meg, which is way too big. So it's on this page here. So if you open it up, see, it's 1.9 meg. So what I do, I use a tool called paint.net, and you can use whatever you want. Now you want the alt tags and the image file name to actually be relevant. So let me show you why. So if you do back of the dollar bill, and you click, this is called image SEO. It's it's an untapped thing. People aren't really thinking about that much. So if you click on this, and then you click on this, that goes directly to my website. Now, why that is, probably because I mentioned back of the dollar bill here in the title. I have it in the meta description. I have it right up here near the top of the content. And also the file name is back of the dollar bill. So that's probably why it's ranking high. So these are things you want to consider using the keywords and stuff for your image, your titles, and the content. So back to this. So what I would call this, this one isn't as relevant. So first thing you want to do is resize it to how it's being displayed. So it's 1920 by 1443. So let's say on the page it's being displayed at 1400 by 1052. So we'll do that. Generally, that's as big as anything. So that's anything that's going to display. So what I would do here, then you want to go to File, Save As. Everything should be first of all, it's a lot bigger because it's a PNG. And you may have different opinions on this, but in my opinion, for websites, everything's fine as JPG. It's just so, and then you getting into WebP now stuff as well. When I say that, it's WebP, but I just do everything as JPG still. So what I would do this. I would do Smith family wedding in Melbourne, Australia, something like that. So it's more relevant. Assuming their last name is Smith, and at Hoover's Castle or wherever they're at, or beach wedding, something like that. So let's say that's a beach wedding. I don't think it is, but let's say it is. So then you save it. And this is where you can save a lot. So right now, just from going to PNG to JPG, we've cut it in it by about 66%. It's down to 543. So now we're going to look at this picture. So let's have a look. Okay, so let's look at, we're trying to look at something so we can compare the details. So let's kind of just look, see his wrinkle right here in his eye. Just kind of keep an eye on that. Right now it's at 100%. If we go down to 50%, so look at the wrinkle in his eye. Don't look at the slider here. Just look at the wrinkle in his eye. I'm about to put it at 50 and see if you notice any changes. I didn't notice anything change. And you're down to 72K. So you're down from 1.9 meg, I think it was, or 1.6 meg, down to 72K. Generally, I can get every 95% under 50. Probably about 70% I can get down to 30. You can see there, it's when it starts pixelating or whatever it's doing. See how it's getting kind of weird? Up until about right there is when it's good, and that's right at 50. So that's then you just go reinsert the image. So that you're doing two things. You're giving it a proper file name and a proper alt description for image SEO, and then you're shrinking it to make the website load quicker, which is another SEO factor. So you want to go back and do all that. It's just a time thing. So I would, of course, start with the biggest one here. Go down, at least get the ones that you can get under 300K. And you got a lot of them. I mean, it's because you're a photography site. I get that. So maybe, you may have a different opinion on it, and these little subtle differences might make a difference to your business. I don't think it will, but again, I'm not in the wedding photography business. This is one you'd want to knock out early because it's mentioned 89 times. So I would go knock out this one. 230 times. Whoops. About 0 bytes. See these bigger ones? I would knock out these because they're used so many times. Now, a lot of times you update it in one place and it'll update it on all the others because it's from a template or something like that. So that's that. And I would maybe not watermark isn't the right word, especially when you're sharing to social media. We went over this earlier a little. Put your company name, and I would put the location on the bottom too. So again, if somebody from Melbourne, Australia sees your photos, if you didn't have it in there, they may just go, okay, that's a cool wedding photo. But if somebody from Melbourne, Australia is about to get married or knows somebody who's getting married, they might go, wow, look at this photographer I found. He's actually in Melbourne, Australia, and his company name is here. Let's go to his website. So that's that. Now, social media. So post your pics to Pinterest, Imgur, Instagram using the appropriate hashtags and watermarks. Again, use the city and country, but you use a ton of hashtags, way too many, and that'll rank you lower in the search engines for these image sites. I would use no more than 10. I generally use about 5, so just make sure you're using the correct ones. 10 top, yeah. And then if you can, tag your clients in social media when you share their images, if appropriate. Now, the reason this is because they're going to share them, obviously, right? So social signals are ranking signals. So this is stuff you want to do. Now, there's a technique I use. I didn't make it up, but I use it. It's called the 3 likes and 1 comment strategy. So what you want to do, for example, Twitter. And you could even do near you, so it's relevant to near you. So what you want to do, you go to people or whatever. You want to find people who are wedding photographers that have a lot of people, or just photographer, weddings, anything. So this person has 1 comment. So what you could do is like this post, and it's got 52 retweets. Okay, I'll explain that. So you like this post. They're going to see that you liked it, and they're going to find out who you are, and they're going to look at your profile. But you don't want to do anything yet. Wait, a couple days, like another one of their posts. Wait another few days, like another one of their posts. Then finally comment. And what's going to happen, they might follow you back at that point, or even follow them and hope that they follow you back. That's kind of how you grow your Twitter following. Again, a lot of these things, this presentation could go on for multiple days, but that's kind of the idea. Now, also, these people have shown interest in, well, at least this person's wedding, but some type of wedding photography. So you could do the same thing with all of their tweets, or you could just follow them, and they'll see your profile, and hopefully they'll follow you back. Generally, between 5 and 30% of people will follow you back, depending on the industry. So that's that. It's very effective. Now you also could, you could search for photographer and then near you. So looking for people that are looking for a photographer near you, perhaps. Or photographer, like need a photographer. Look, I need a photographer for basketball. You could reach out to them. Well, you're not doing basketball, but you kind of get the idea. I need a photographer to do business with. Boom, reach out to that person. And of course, it's local here, so it's not, you're not going to get them from all over the world. And you could also do like want, like look, they're talking about wanting a photographer, or need a photographer. These, you got to think about, so it's not really that, just having social media these days isn't really that big of a deal. It doesn't really buy you much. What the benefit from it is searching around to see how people are using it, getting involved. You have to be responsive to people. You have to just see how people are using it, and just explore around, see who all these wedding photographers are, and kind of look around. So that's some ideas. I can give you more ideas if you'd like them. Here's some Facebook groups you could network in. And then photo competition. So, sorry about that. Let me pause it. Okay, so I'm back. So photo competition. So, whoops. Oh my God, hold on. Okay, so these are all people that are having photo competition. So you could enter your photos into these. Now you could also search for it on Google. You could search for wedding photo competition. So these are people having wedding photo competitions. Contest. Oh yeah, or just contest. Same thing here. Or you could just do photo contest. You can do the same thing on Facebook. So that's that. So you just need to know, you got to think about things, keywords that can help you get more brand exposure and get backlinks into your website. So look at this. So I did this on Facebook. And there was a group, I think, whoops. So all kinds of groups you can network in. I thought I had a good result. Let's see. Yeah, learning and share. Okay, that's not what there's something. Okay, you can come. I had one that was really good. So this is how you can do brand exposure. Get involved, help people out. Eventually, you can plug your website. Of course, you want to find some that are more local to you, if at all possible. Like photography, 140 posts a day. I generally just do like public groups at first. Look, oh yeah, I need a photo video. So these are people looking for photographers. So look, I need somebody to film my wedding. Look at this. Coincidentally, Gold Coast, Australia. So let's do this. Gold Coast. I have no idea where that's at. I've heard of it. Let's do this. How far is Melbourne from Gold Coast? Okay, yeah, so that's crazy. That's not something you're gonna do. But that just shows you the kind of stuff you can come across here. That's America. So you could search for, I need a videographer, then you could search for Australia. I think that's how you spell it. Perth. So you see, and that's a little bit older. But you can see, I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff you can do. Look, if you need okay, so this is a guy that's advertising his services. So it looks like you can advertise. And of course, you want to show some sample photos. So there's just all kinds of stuff you can do. It's just really ridiculous. There's no reason not to do it other than time. And then here's a link for social sharing platforms that you probably didn't think of for photographers. Behance, or maybe you do. I don't know. Vero Social, Stellar Stories, Instagram, obviously. You pick. Look, having posted just 10 images, they've already. Goodness, hold on. Okay, sorry about that. So look, they've already been viewed 360,000 times. Of course, that's probably extreme, but these are very real places to get exposure for your photograph. Now, the benefit is putting in your photograph the little caption, in my opinion, of your company name on the bottom right. At least that's what I would do. And then post to media trending hashtags. So for example, like Groundhog Day, I don't want to get too much into this because there's just so much to cover. I have the Groundhog Day post. So when Groundhog Day was a few days ago, of course, Groundhog Day was trending. So I posted this in there. So if you Groundhog Day, so I would do, and of course, I don't make it look like it's my website. I'd be like, wow, what a cool read this is. The history of Groundhog Day is unbelievable. Write it, like talk it up so people will go to it. Then also you want to find, I generally do the first post, the first few posts that have a lot of comments, like over 34. There's not going to be many right now because it's not Groundhog Day, but you can see here, this has 2 comments. So let's say this had 50. Generally, it'll be for like news sites. You kind of just do the same thing and you link out to your post, right? And then you don't want to always, so then of course you want to use Twitter to do other things. So if somebody sees your profile, it doesn't really look like you're, plugging your website. Now, you don't want to do this 50 times because you will eventually, I'm sure Twitter will, penalize you, however their algorithm works. So, just do it 2, 3, 4, or 5 times and then, go do some other stuff. So then I would go back to my timeline after I did that and I would retweet, something here that's unrelated. I would, maybe, who's watching the game tonight, random stuff, blah, blah, blah. So it just looks like it's not obvious that you're plugging your website. So that's that. And then, put everything like, there's also a bunch of general hashtags that are popular on certain days, like Saturday morning, Thursday thoughts. So you could post your wedding photos and put like a caption on top, kind of like I do here. And I'm not a graphic artist, so these are going to look pretty horrible to you. So what is the difference? See how you put an image, then the question here, right? So then you could do like for Thursday thoughts, you could have a nice little portrait photograph and have like a peaceful quote, like happiness is whatever, whatever, whatever. That's kind of the idea there. So you just basically, what I do, I wait for trends to come on social media and then I pounce on them. I don't always advertise stuff on social media. I wait for trends to happen. So let's see if I can find anything that's trending right now while we're here. National Drink Wine Day. I don't think I have any wine topics. Look. The Brit Award. Okay, I do have something Brit Award. So this would be not totally related, but if you go here and you go here, England, what is the difference between United Kingdom, blah, 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 blah. So what I'll do here, and I'll actually do it. I never knew the difference between England and the UK and Britain. Interesting. You know what I mean? Like, hey, interesting. Do that. Copy it. Tweet it. Then this one has 8 comments. Let's see if there's more. So I'm assuming this is some award show in Britain. So that's actually not, generally I thought there would be more that had a lot of comments. So let's just do this one. Boom. Boom. Do it 2 or 3 times, and you'll get some traffic on that. Not all the time. Sometimes you'll get 1, sometimes you get 2 to 3, sometimes you'll get 50. It just all depends. There's some hashtag stuff. And then, oh, I don't know why I put this here. Okay, right, it's down there too. So, okay, what are we at? We are, looks like minute, an hour, over an hour. So we're going to start going a lot faster here. Okay, then you want to just look through wedding blogs. Like this one has photo contest. This one you can submit wedding photos at this one. You can like list yourself as a wedding vendor here. So there's all kind. You just have to go and explore this stuff. Now, how you find this stuff is wedding resources, wedding blogs, and just go to every one of them and just go and click and look and see how you can get involved with these. Rock My Wedding. I think this is one that I mentioned above. Look, find a supplier. You are a supplier. Also, I saw that it had a podcast. You could be a guest on that podcast. Talk about, everybody likes to know about people's journey. Like, what's your story? How did you get where you're at? I saw you're an introvert, which I find to be very cool because I'm exactly the same way. You will very rarely find a picture of me on the internet. I think you're probably the same way. So it would be interesting. You're not like, a typical average everyday run of the mill person. You probably have a really interesting story. Like how I saw you have a lot of, you've been recognized internationally, which we'll get into below, but those would be good stories. So you could see, you want to like reach out to these people, see how you can get involved. So that's it. You just got to explore around. Put your phone number in the main menu. Okay, so for mobile especially, it's very standard for mobile. So if you ever want to emulate mobile of your website and you don't want to go to your phone, you can just go to Chrome and go to inspect, and it'll resize it. Now yours doesn't resize properly until you hit refresh. Not a huge deal. But you want your phone number to appear up here, or at least near the top somewhere, and you want it to be clickable. So if you're on a mobile phone, you can click on it and it automatically goes. And wherever it's at, you want it to be clickable, like down here. You want your email address to be clickable. You want your telephone. You want your map to even be clickable. Maybe that's not as big of a deal, but you want your telephone and your email address to be clickable for sure. So you can emulate it on like a iPhone 7 or what it looks like on a iPad Pro or whatever. And of course, with yours, for some reason, you have to yours isn't totally 100% responsive, but nobody's going to be resizing their screen, so it's not that big of a deal. It looks good. So that's that. In your contact form, you'd be surprised. Some people don't have mail to set up properly. The mail to colon, I don't know if you know what that is or not, but you want to have an actual embedded form like this up here. Not just your email and clickable, because or it's messed up, or the mail to link is messed up. So you want to have an actual form. Not that huge of a deal, but you definitely want to do it. I like this map here though, and I like that you've embedded it with your reviews and stuff. That's pretty good. Zoom doesn't work properly here. So a lot of this stuff is usability stuff. Of course, this is user experience stuff. You know what I mean? Which helps people stay on your, like if I click on that, and I zoom in, it zooms the other way. So if I was looking at your photographs and this happened, I might navigate away from your site. This is important. If somebody does that, that's a signal to Google that your site's not any good. Even if I pinch and zoom, like if I pinch and zoom here, it works fine. If I pinch and zoom while I'm in a photograph, it does nothing. So something is messed up here that you want to look at. This is all usability stuff. Usability stuff will affect Google search rankings indirectly, right? Oh, you want to have social share buttons on your images, so you pin or share to Twitter or whatever, and with your logo on them. So what are these links on the top and the bottom of the About page? Again, these are notes to myself here, because as you can see, I just do so much stuff. Like we're on page 7 of 19, so I don't understand. That's a really good photo. Well, I guess I don't have to tell you that because you're a photographer, but it's a good photo. It's good quality. You have some links here, and these are all good photos. It's like everybody's attractive in Australia, apparently. Like, I don't understand what all these are. Byron Bay Wedding. Maybe those are locations. That's probably, well, some of them didn't look like locations. Candid. So, okay, yeah, like candid wedding photography. Why is that mixed in here? So some of these are locations, but then like Tatro receptions. So it seems like there's things that are just mixed in. I'm not sure what all that is. These are really good photos, man. I mean, that's awesome. Definitely have a talent. Like, why is there? Okay, so what? This is a really good content idea. Um, I would like not make your images take up the whole screen. I would kind of like do some over here, then wrap the text around it because it just make it look a lot more appealing. You do have the share buttons here, which is good, but you want to have the button within the image. It's like pin to Pinterest or whatever. But I definitely would have these images smaller and wrap the images or wrap the text around the images because then your font is way, way, way too small, in my opinion. Um, Again, not that my site's great, but you can see here, you can use this little extension called Font Face Ninja. You highlight it and it's Verdana 16. If you go to yours, you are Crimson 16. Okay, so you're still 16, but it looks really small. You don't want somebody to leave just because your font is small, and on mobile, it's really small. So I would increase those up a point, maybe up to 18, because if somebody clicks the back button, navigates away from your page, that's a signal to Google. It's not going to know they're doing it. Google's not going to know why they did it. They're just going to know that they did it. Because it is very hard to read. I mean, I can zoom in, of course, and do it, but no big deal for people that are probably in their, I don't know how old you are, probably look to be maybe 30, 35. I don't even know. Probably not a big deal for you, but somebody I'm like in my early 40s, this is just real hard to read. Okay, now this is really big. You have all these locations that somewhere you mentioned here. You want to create pages that you don't link anywhere on your website, but they'll be in your sitemap. So you want to have like Yarra Valley. You want to have a page called like Yarra. You could link to them actually because it's actually relevant. So if somebody's coming to a wedding that you're doing, what's the night, like 1,500 words, the nightlife in Yarra Valley, the Yarra Valley restaurants, the Yarra Valley hotels, the Yarra Valley shopping. Now, why this is important? This establishes local geographic authority, and then you link it back to your landing page for. You need to have a landing page for each of these cities or each of these locations. It's like a trick because if you just have this, it's not very authoritative, but if you have a lot of geographic pages related to this city, Google's going to think, okay, this I can't think of the right word. It has more basically geographic authority and it is more relevant to this city location. So you definitely want to do that. It's a trick and it works, and it's not spammy at all because you can imagine, you could say, if you're coming to a wedding in Yarra Valley, here's the nightlife, here's some restaurants to visit, here's the hotels, and here's some shopping centers or whatever. I would do 4 of them, between 3 and 5. I found this. I don't know how to get to it, and it doesn't look good. Oh, and it has, you might have actually told me this. See, it has a contact here, then down here it has a form too, so it's kind of duplicative, if that's even a word. But I don't like this little text, and I don't like these huge images for your content posts. I don't like it. So that's that. Some of these don't have links. Oh, your suppliers, like this has a link to it. Some of them don't, though. Here. These are good external linking opportunities, so that's good. Like this one doesn't. This one doesn't. And you probably just got busy and forgot. That's totally understandable, but you definitely want to link out. So I think like that font would be better, that size. But these are really good external linking opportunities, which you do have here, so that's good. And that's that. Okay, yeah, this is a good example of a title modifier. You have 2020 in this post. I would set up a calendar reminder to update this post at the end of this year to make sure you go change this. So at the end of the year, it won't be my current plans. You'll probably briefly describe what you did in 2020. Or if you're pushing it back to 2021, make sure you change it there. So you just want to make sure all this stuff's up to date. If it's a blog, though, if it's a blog post, you might want to just be showing your your journey, your timeline, so that's fine. It may not be totally perfect for that. That's just very thin content. I don't think I would even have this. I would go into like what is a destination wedding photographer, things to know, what to know before hiring a destination wedding photographer, good destination wedding photography locations, all that down here. Because there's just not much here. It's possible Google won't even index this. Just because it's there doesn't mean Google will index it. Okay, so you're featured in a lot of cool things. Mentioned somewhere in here that you've been featured. Okay, link out to all these resources where you were featured. Dot Bride, Pure Wow. In this small font comment, I'm sure if this is a perfect example of the things you would hear on User Bob. I would guarantee it. Because you would see them browsing it and you'd probably see them going like this to make the font bigger. That's the kind of, or even that even could be in Specklet. So I would link out to these. I would also, if you can, I don't know the legality of it, put logos to these well-known websites, these properties, these magazines, whatever, up here on your homepage so it shows your legitimacy. Yeah, so drone wedding photographer, that's something, you'd want a landing page for that. Not a big deal here. I would change hello to contact, not a huge deal. Just this is just a preference. Like down here, I would just change it to contact. No big deal there at all. Very low priority there. This is really good stuff. This should be an FAQ though. I'd put all these into a FAQ and put them up here. Frequently asked question. Then there's a schema type called FAQ. I believe it's FAQ. Let's see. Yeah. So that's you would implement that, right? You need a call to action at the top of your web page above the fold. So up here, the very first page in the middle of this image or something, or up here, oh, one second. I would have something like, get quote or contact me or connect or something. But it's kind of hidden. I mean, obviously it's up here, but you want to give people the opportunity to. It doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal, but these call to actions are very important. Make it stick out up here, or even like below this down here, like a button kind of thing. It's called a call to action. You need to have a search. You don't have a search. I really like, even though you don't do video, from what I read, I really like the looks of this. This is really cool. This little animated video, not animated, this video, it's really, that's really cool. Now, I don't know if you want to do that since I don't think you do video. See, they do video, but I just wanted to point out how cool I thought that looked. Looks really professional. It's a good thing their website, well, maybe it's your competition, their websites are, two of them load very slow, so. What about packages? Do you have any packages you could offer? It seems like you just have that one price. Your competitors have packages. I would consider some type of packages. What is this? Oh, your what's included here. It's over on the widget side. I would put that all within here, like bullet points. It seems like Google would index that a little better. And it's kind of off to the side. It's not really that good. And then so this website does a good job of it, like with upgrades especially. Drone photography would be an upgrade, or nighttime, or I don't know. It's your business. You understand these things better than I do. So I just think giving people more customizable options like this would be good. All this kind of stuff. I think it's better than one size fits all. Even though if they chat with you, I get it. They can probably add things and remove things. But and these are, since it's a one-time fix, there's no reason not to do it. It's not like you have to continue doing this, on a daily or weekly basis. Yeah, I would have up in your menu called important reads and have like, things you need to know and have this kind of content in it. Um, oh, and then you have fine print here. Well, thought you did, so let's do this. You mentioned fine prints. And there was no link to it. So I want to see. Maybe this is it. Fine. Okay, well, you do have a fine prints link here. In one of your pieces of content, you mentioned fine prints, but you would want to link to this here because it just says it. Like, I don't know what that means. Um, yeah, okay, I went over this. Nighttime weddings, beach weddings, farm weddings. I mean, you would do a farm wedding, obviously, and just keep in mind what people are searching on. You have to include those keywords in your website, right? So you would want to create a page dedicated to farm weddings. Let's do this. Farm wedding. I don't know. When I think of Australia, I don't think of farms, but obviously you have farms. Okay, it doesn't say people are searching on it, but I guarantee they are because if I search for Australia, because this is coming from AdWords, which isn't accurate. It gives you a general idea. Australia, look, farm wedding venues. So you can, if this wouldn't be here if people weren't searching on it. Now, this would be a good blog post too. What are some good farm wedding venues in Australia? Look, boom. Homestead weddings, whatever that is. Okay, so these are all kinds of keywords people are searching on. This is just for my research. I mean, I'm not a wedding expert. These are all, you want landing pages for each one of these types of weddings. So industrial weddings, traditional weddings, festival weddings, destination weddings. That's some there. And if you go through these other pages, these are just more types of keyword, different types of weddings through all these here. What are these links? It's like everybody's attractive in all your photos. It's crazy. I think there was links at the bottom here. It's a lot of photos. Well, maybe not. Look, featured in Polka Dot Bride. I would link to that. Oh, these here. What are those? I guess these are like vendors are used, but I would maybe put some context behind them. It'd say, companies used because it's kind of just, I actually would put them at the bottom. Um, yeah, wine stores. So these are the companies they use. And also you would want to reach out to these people. You would want to network with them and see if you can, get links, if they help you, you'll help them. You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. So you need to network more with different vendors, like bakeries, wedding dress stores, and what you can do, you can offer to do their, you want to offer them something, right? You just don't, a lot of times you say, hey, give me a backlink, they're not going to do it, and you don't even want to ask for a backlink, but you want to say, go to a baker or a wine store and go, you know what? I do wedding photography. I'd be happy to do your product photos for you if you don't mind ever, linking to not a backlink, linking to my website. At the very bottom, photos provided by is it Matthew Elliott, Matt Elliott, and link to your website. Kind of like websites at the bottom have, website made by website. Okay, that's your website. Website designed by company X. And so even if nobody clicks on it, it's still a backlink. So you could reach out to all these vendors that have worked with these websites, and just offer them to do product, even if it's like a very discounted rate, because backlinks are so important. And so these are just some usability issues. There's just too much spacing in these. Looks really, really bad here as well. So you can see in some of your results are bad links. So like, see, you have this page not found. So you'd want to find out why that is. Thank you card is dead. So there's a link to a thank you card. So this is your site, all the results from your site. So there's a thank you card result that displays, but it doesn't exist. I think your 404 page is pretty clever. So look into that. How do I get to this? So this, oh, we went over this. This is your appointment, so we went over that. Yeah. Oh, here's where you mentioned the magazines and everything you're mentioned in. Um, you need to put those logos on your homepage and link out to those stories because that really establishes that, like any type of awards, anything you've won, really establishes you're not just some guy in a basement. Like, wow, okay, this guy's been mentioned in whatever landscape magazine, photography. I don't even know. He must be really, really good. I would plaster that stuff. Of course, link to it here. I would plaster that stuff on your homepage here near the top or the middle at least. Featured in, then the logo for the magazine here, the website logo here for the other one. So let's see. Featured polka dot bride. So instead of just displaying the text, I would go here. I would get their logo, this, and I would 100% plaster that on your homepage. And when they click on it, link to where you are on this website. Definitely have a fact. AIP, I think you're a member of, are you a member of AIPP? It's Australian International Photographers. You want to put, this establishes legitimacy too. You want to put this logo, assuming they allow it, which I'm sure they do. It shows your, put this, member, proud member of AIPP with this logo on your homepage. Now, this just, you need to put this, you need to set up either, either Uptime Robot or Uptrends. This will just check your website every 5 minutes to make sure it's up. You could pay, it's free. You could pay for it and get it every 15 seconds or whatever. The reason is if your website's down, that's a signal to Google that your website's not any good and it's not going to rank. I've worked with customers, I don't want to get too much into this, that their website would go down in the middle of the night and they wouldn't know it. And it ends up being, that's why they started ranking lower. So it will basically register for this. It's free. If your website goes down, that'll send you an email or a text message or something. So you just need to be aware of it. Make sure you're not indexing categories, tags, blah, blah, blah. Now, Google My Business, we kind of covered this. Let's see, you're not really, it's set up good, but you want to update service areas. Let's see if I still have, I think you still gave me access to it. Okay, so you're doing some posts, or you haven't done posts in a long time. Those show up, on the Google search results to the right. So you'd want to advertise like promotions, latest pictures of weddings, all kinds of cool stuff. So you want to do that info. Let's see, like service areas. You want to come here 100% and add like Melbourne, Australia. I mean, not Sydney, because I'm assuming that's way far away, but Sydney, you wanted to add like 5 areas or something like that. Now, if you put like places that are 15 hours away, that's considered spam. You don't want to do that. You want to put places that are all within about a 30-mile radius. You don't want to just have Victoria there. I had a few more notes about Google My Business. Let me see. The bookings. Whoops. They have this. You could look into this to where people could book from here, and it just looks a lot. See, this is a Google product, right? Google My Business. I would think the more you use Google My Business, the better Google, they want their products to be used. So I would think they're going to move you higher and higher up in the rankings the more of their products they use. I mean, it makes sense to me. I can't prove that. But you might want to look into this booking, see if you can incorporate that into your website. And again, this would set you apart from your competition. So you'd have a nice little, on the Google search result, like a book button right in the search result, or maybe even in the search result over here when it shows up. Oh, you don't have messaging turned on. That way people can message you right from Google. Turn that on. Here's a good overview of Google My Business. And then ask for reviews is very, very important. Extremely important. It's probably the biggest ranking signal as far as I'm concerned. What you want to do, you want to give people a link to go right to the review location. Right here. You don't want to link them to your Google My Business page and have them hunt down the write a review button. You want to link them right here. Now you can do that. You can also do these. I don't know if Yelp even exists in Australia. Let me see. Yeah, okay, it exists in Australia. So you create links. So for example, your website is, you could have it like this. I would even make it shorter, but you could have Google. You could have one called Yelp. You could have one called Foursquare if you have that over there, whatever. But your Matt Elliott, I would get a link like this, mattelliott.link. That's probably not available. Then have Google. So you can put this on a business card. You said you don't use business cards, but Yelp. And you can offer, you don't want to ask for a positive review because that's against all the guidelines, but leave me an honest review. And you could offer like a discount. I'm not even sure if you can do that, to be honest. I shouldn't even say that. What you want to do, you want to make sure you get as many reviews as possible and make it as easy for them to understand. What I do with customers is a lot of people automate this stuff. And if you're like a huge company, you have to do that. But I will follow up in an email that's very personalized, not 8 paragraphs, but like, 2 to 3 sentences. Hey, Michael, I just want to let you know, I hope you really enjoyed your wedding there on the beach. That was really funny when Johnny tripped or whatever. And then so they know it's not automated. Say, what would really help me out to continue building my bit? Just be honest. You know what I mean? You want leaving me a quick review here and here? I would sincerely appreciate it. And since it's a wedding thing, it's not like it's a widget. It's not like you bought a cell phone case. I think they would be more prone to do it. And you do have a lot of reviews, which is good, but you need to get more and more and more and more. You always need to get reviews. This is where you can create these links here. And you also need to, so you need to respond to all reviews as well. You do have a lot of, and you're responding to some of them, to a lot of them, but positive or negative, you need to respond to them on all of these different directories, Yelp, Google, blah, 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 blah. Now, there's all kinds of other local citation directories that you're not in. So you can imagine the more Google sees your business around the web, the more legitimate it's going to think it is. Also, the more people searching for your business name see your business around the web, the more legitimate they're going to think it is. So like, Google Places, Bing Places, Yahoo. I don't know if these are relevant in Australia, and some of these won't be relevant anyway, like Open Tables for restaurants, you know what I mean? But just go through and just one by one get into it. Get in all these directories. And there's products that you can manage a lot of these in one central place. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And you can see here, you want to get the ones with the highest domain authority first. So these are backlinks as well. Here's some more citation sources. So these are by category. Well, we don't need to get into that. Those are by category. And I'm not going to get into the Ahrefs stuff here. It's a really useful tool. It's $150 a month, but it's extremely useful. You don't need that unless you're an agency. So what I would do, I would use the free trial for 7 days, but you can actually see all kinds of keyword information. You can go and look at the backlinks coming into your competitors' websites. You want to find broken back, so you can see where they're located on the web. Like you might find out, oh, competitor A is in this directory. I need to go get in that directory. You want to see how people are linking to your competitors. You also want to find the broken backlinks coming into your competitors. So if there's a backlink coming into one of your competitors' pages that's broken, you recreate that page on your website, reach out to the person that owns that blog and say, hey, I saw you were linking to this page and it's broken. I have a piece of content on the same topic. You can link to me if you'd like to. Now, if you just message this person out of the blue and ask for a link, they're not going to give it to you. They may, generally they don't. But if you can provide them something in return, like you're reporting to them, they don't want broken links on their webpage. So if you can report the broken link and give them a link to use in its place, a lot of times they'll do it. You can also monitor your competitors' ads, which is great because if one of your competitors is advertising and it's working, why not just copy that ad? You understand what I'm saying? So you can actually see the ads that they're running, and you can click on these links and read more about this stuff. Now, something else you want to do, so you have a competitor here, Ariel, or that's not Ariel, Will Chow Photography. So if somebody types in Chow Photography, his website's going to come up first. What I would do, and advertising scares people because they think, oh my God, I don't want to put $5,000 into an advertising campaign and not do anything. You don't have to. You don't have to commit to it. You could do it, for, $20 a day or something for a week and see what happens. Of course, you probably want to do a little bit more. But one way you could advertise on Will Chow Photography. if you advertise in that keyword, you're tricking Google into displaying your company name above this guy's company name. So it's kind of it's a nice little hack to get to siphon traffic off of your competitors' websites. And I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can do in Ahrefs. It's just, and I can go over to it in more detail with you, but this is just a really long, there's just so much stuff that I can recommend, so I just don't want to get into all this. Just read these summaries here. The biggest thing is backlink building, but you can see like what you're ranking for, your top pages, your competitors' top pages, trending topics on social media, all kinds of stuff. And then backlinks are still huge. These are the techniques I use to get backlinks. I'll go over, you can just read through these. Ask your customers for links on their blogs, if that's appropriate, if you feel comfortable doing it. Again, network with venues, bakers, MCs, like, music MCs, wedding dress companies. So I would say, like we said, I'll do, if this person, if you go to their website, or if they don't even have a website, this baker, hey, I'll be happy to take product photos for your website. In return, could you just, make a little blurb of my website saying product photos provided by Matt Elliott Photography. Please visit him on this website. Yeah, so you can imagine if somebody's reviewing weddings, they're probably going to wedding venue sites, they're probably going to baker websites, they're probably going to MC websites. Over and over again, if your name was mentioned on all of these websites, they're going to think you're pretty legitimate. So not only are you getting the backlinks, you're establishing that legitimacy as well. And, here's some more. I mean, you could do a free headshot for a blogger, you could for a business owner, even unrelated to wedding stuff. So even though you don't do your wedding photography, when I say product photo, you're smart enough, I'm sure, to do product photos, right? You can backlinks for volunteering charity events, cover local events, partner with local businesses who needs photos for marketing. And then also look at wedding photography sites. What do you like that they're doing? Look at your competitors. Look at blogs even. What are these sites doing that you could do, that you like, that you could implement on your site? Unlinked brand mentions. So you want to search for your company name. If there's any places your company is listed on the web and there's no link back to your website, let's see what Ivory Tribe is. Whatever it is, it's slow. Surprised it's ranking that high. Okay, so this is some kind of directory. So it looks like, okay, so this links back to you somehow. And again, everybody is attractive in Australia, it seems. But okay, yeah, so it links here. But you get the idea. If somebody mentions your name, and you can stay on top of this by creating a Google alert, for your company name. So if it's newly mentioned on a website somewhere, you'll get an alert. You can go to it and see what's going on. So here's a bunch of search terms you can use to find places to get backlink opportunities. So photographer directory, boom. You want to be in all these websites. 500 pics directory. You want to do wedding photographer directory, get in all those. You want to do Melbourne, Australia directory. You want to get in all these directories. You want to do business directory. You even want to probably do Australia directory. You want to do Australia business directory. So, it just goes on and on and on. And there's a bunch of query terms you can use here to get this kind of stuff. So these are the things that I just put here. And I don't think you're in this. That AIPP, that I guess it's like a trade organization of something. Or something. There is a search directory they have. Find a professional. I didn't see you in here. So, if it's free or if it's not free and you want to get in here, that'll establish legitimacy. And I'm pretty sure that's probably a do follow backlink. Let me pause it real quick. Okay, guest posting is another really useful way. It's a lot more difficult, but again, if you can offer something in return, you can generally more likely to guest post on somebody's blog. I do have a little trick that I thought about, which I'll share with you here in a second. So you can search for wedding photography write for us, or photography guest author, or photography guest post. So let's see, photography plus guest post. So these are photography related websites that have the word guest post mentioned somewhere. Boom. Photography blogs that accept guest posts. Look at all these. Boom, 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 boom. I also have this. I found this a while back. Look at all these. Ultimate list of wedding websites that accept submissions sorted by domain authority. So you just do all, you don't want to contact the same companies over and over again. And there's all kinds of tools you can pay $300 a month for to track all this stuff. Just make a spreadsheet and say, Martha Stewart Weddings contacted on April 1st, contacted again on April 2nd, no response. So don't do it again. Don't annoy them. But what I do is this. I find this to be pretty tricky. I reverse it. I reach out to these people and say, hey, you know what? I do like your website. Would you be interested in, I'm trying to build content up on my website. Would you be interested in guest posting on my website? Now, a lot of people are more prone to accept that type of invitation than they are to allow you to guest post on their website. Now, the trick here is, you might be wondering, why do I do that? Well, generally, when these people do a guest post, a lot of times they will link to their guest post on their blog. So you get that backlink there as well. So you just want to test it out. Now, this is kind of how to do it with like templates and stuff. I wouldn't be phony though, like they are here, like in their outreach email. It's like, hey, I really love your website. I read it every day. I would be honest. I'm a photographer, trying to build my brand. I would just be, if I get an email to one of my websites and I get the overwhelming majority of time, it's hey, I really love your website. I think my content would be great for it. And you can tell it's copy and pasted. Again, I wouldn't do that. So I would be like, in the email, in the 1 or 2 sentences, make it customized for the person you're reaching out to. And I do have a membership to Big Guest Posting. I'm going to export these results in a CSV file. I'm going to send them to you. So what it is, it's a paid membership, so you don't have to do this. But you can do inner niche, so you can do wedding, photography, search. Let this go real quick. I'm going to take a sip of water. So it found 139, and these aren't always accurate, places that accept guest posts related to wedding photography. So this one, Toronto wedding photographer, Chapel Hill wedding photographer, whatever. You also could do just photography, and there'd be a lot more you can imagine. You could do weddings. Let's see what shows up there. So you just put all these in a spreadsheet, sort them from all these different places I've given you, put them all in a spreadsheet and sort them, and then just go through them one by one over the next few months. It's not complicated. It's just time consuming. So here, look, 2,600 search results for a wedding, a practical wedding, your wedding planner, wedding stylist, photo shoot. This is just so much stuff. Look at these Facebook likes. Look at all this stuff. Goodness gracious. 3 million Facebook likes, style me pretty. So, goodness, you could just get all kinds of links from this stuff. And then as you start improving your website traffic, so not only, you could blog about wedding SEO. You know what I mean? You could have a course on wedding SEO. So that's you're just kind of dovetailing into that. Now, same thing with podcasts. There's all kinds of wedding podcasts, photography podcasts, wedding photography podcast. So you want to reach out to those people. Press releases is also a thing. That's backlink up. You just don't want to go to spammy press releases. Help a reporter out is huge. So help a reporter out. People are always looking. Journalists from major places are always looking. They're always, am I recording? Yes. Always writing stories on things. So they're looking for sources for their stories. You help them out. You get a backlink. So these are the kind of things. Twitter. A lot of people post them here too, also in Twitter for journal request. Journal request. So we'll go to latest. Okay, that's not relevant. Anybody an expert in algorithms? Okay, that's not you. Anyone got a fridge like a wall like this one? Okay, whatever. Music. Professional journalists who can provide high quality content in sports technology. Okay, if that had photography, that could be you, but it's not, obviously. That's TV. Okay, let's see. Okay, are you a Canadian back? So Australia, but that's not you. So you can see here. So you could also do journal request. You could do Australia. See, look, this is 1 hour ago, 11 hours ago. I can't imagine what y'all are going through. I don't know if that's near you, but oh my God. All those poor animals too. Oh, makes me sad. Okay, so it doesn't look like there's much there, but you could do photography. Do you know anything about gender discrimination in photography? I don't, but maybe you do. Okay, then you could do like wedding. You see, it goes on and on. It doesn't look like there's a lot out there right now, but it's something you just want to be aware of. But if you do through Harrow, you could just get, you get emails throughout the day, people looking for experts on certain things. So you could be an expert on weddings. You could be an expert on wedding planning, possibly. You could be an expert on photography, wedding photography, landscape photography, perhaps, probably animal photography. I mean, whatever. Um, and also, are you family owned? You are probably, but these people search on this kind of stuff. Like, the Americans have a lot of pride in their veterans, right? I'm sure over there it's similar. We're both like kind of Western. I shouldn't say it matters if it's a Western country, but I'm sure there's a lot of pride in your military. So people search for this veteran owned photography, right? So if you had veteran owned wedding photographer, so if you're a veteran, you'd want to put these keywords on your website somewhere. Also, family owned. Now, all photographers are kind of family owned, so it's not as a big deal, but you might want to sprinkle that as well. Now, also, video hellos are really important. I know you said you're kind of shy and kind of, maybe not shy is not the word. I think you did say shy, but more of an introvert like me. I would not do a video hello because I like being on video. But if it's something you could get through, it builds trust. You're taking advantage of like a psychological glitch in human behavior. Just by having a video hello, people are going to trust you more. Whatever that reason is, it doesn't matter. It's a marketing thing and it works. So that's something you want to put on your homepage. Now, why you versus your competition? I would create a matrix possibly of why you're better than your competitors. This is more for like products, but it is something you may have like. Are you the only one that does nighttime? Are you the only one that does drones? Are you the only one that uses certain lenses? I don't even know. And then can you do a live stream and post that stuff to Facebook? So people kind of get an idea of like you guys setting up stuff, kind of like, hey, we're at the Smith wedding here at the castle. Watch, just for like 2 minutes, just so people can kind of see who you are. You want people to see who you are so they can become familiar with you and build trust in you. Now, I see who you are, but I want to know more about. You have those little blurbs on your individual contributors. I'd like to see a little bit more on them, like videos and stuff like that, but not a huge deal. Do you have any certifications, awards, memberships? Add those to the homepage. I like this live testimonial scroll a lot because it's proof that they're not just made up. Because anybody could type a testimonial and put it on their home screen. But these people link to their testimonials. Look at this. Google. And this is coming from the Better Business Bureau. That's an organization here in America. I doubt you have it. So it's by Podium. I don't know anything about it, but I like it. I really do like that. So it's something you might want to consider. These badges are always good, 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Yeah. Whoops. Yeah, video testimonials sell. So if you can get your your customers to do video testimonials, they sell. You post that to social media. People love it. You can have a video testimonial wall on your website. It really does sell. People like, and you could have them talking for 15 seconds, then sprinkle in your pictures throughout the video testimonial. Then put videos on YouTube. Videos can increase dwell time. Of course, you could do like, maybe not necessarily videos of certain weddings. Am I recording? Yes. But like how-to videos. You know what I mean? Like, let's do this. Wedding photography tips, wedding photography tutorials, behind the scenes. That would be really interesting. You may think, well, that's kind of boring. 668,000 views. It's not that boring. Full wedding day. So this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about for live stream. Look, behind the scenes, getting ready for a wedding. These are the tips and tricks. Now, you also just don't have to do photography for weddings. You could do any type of photos. You could review. Like I don't mind talking. Like what I'm doing now with you. I don't like video. It's just weird to me. So if you're not comfortable on video, if you're comfortable talking and getting through things, you could just review products, review cameras, give tips on lighting, all kinds of stuff. Now these are the title modifiers we talked about, like best top, because people are searching for best wedding photographer Melbourne. or Victoria, whatever. I don't even like Melbourne's the city, Victoria's the state, I guess. I guess I'm just a dumb American. So you want to incorporate these words into your web page. Your font's too small. Configure Twitter rich card. So if somebody shares your stuff on Twitter, it shows up with the picture in the tweet, not just an ugly link. You could target ads on Facebook. And then, so that's a way to grow your following on Facebook. You create ads, like you write a good piece of content and you boost it to people who are photographers. And then as they like your boosted post, you invite them back to your page. So you could, good piece of content, and you could target photographers in Australia, or, you know, people who have shown interest in weddings in Australia. And then you, after they like your post, you invite them back to your page. Here's some creative market ideas. This is some cool things I saw for wedding photography. If you want to spend a little bit of money, make these things more memorable. Actually, this is but this is some really good stuff. Read through this. The packaging. I saw this wooden banana. You deliver a thumb drive. And this is way expensive, I'm sure. But this is just an idea. So USBs. If you delivered the thumb drive in something, and I don't do leather. That's kind of crystal USB. You know what I mean? It's just, and these are really expensive from what I saw. See, to me, that's expensive. But this kind of stuff really leaves a lasting impression. They also have like portfolio case, or not portfolio, what do you call them? Prints, like love story, put them in a box. There's all kinds of cool stuff. But I found this to be really, really interesting. Read through this. I give this when I do wedding photographer audits. People, a lot of times I'll get feedback and say, wow, that's really, really good. A lot of it's stuff that we're covering right now, but it's really, really interesting. We went over this. Now, live chat is so big. None of your competitors do it. People always increase their conversions just by implementing live chat. And I know what you're thinking right now. I can't sit by at least I think you are. I cannot sit by my laptop all day to do live chat. Well, the good news is you don't have to, because it can go to your mobile phone. And you can do this for free with WordPress. I'm not sure non-WordPress sites, but I'm sure you can. And then also, if you're not there after 30 seconds, it'll time out and then it'll send you an email. Now, just because you had that live chat, they may have not reached out to you if you didn't have that live chat. So even if you're not there, so even if you're never there, I would have it and then have it after 30 seconds time out and send you an email. But if you didn't have that, they may have never reached out to you in the first place. So that's a must. You have to have that. Okay, now we're getting to the very end. So make sure you're using Google Analytics. You can read about it here. Google Search Console is totally important, because if there's any errors, if it detects any spam, you need to act on it. You need to make sure your sitemaps entered. So look at that here. Also, don't forget about international search engines. Well, Bing, of course. Well, obviously you use Bing. And if you go to Bing, it goes to Yahoo and DuckDuckGo. But then China and Russia. Now, you may be thinking nobody from China or Russia is going to have a wedding in Australia, and that's probably true, but they are going to be searching for content that's on your website. That's another visitor to your website. The more visitors you have to the website, the higher you're going to appear in the Google search rankings. We've been over that. Check for broken links regularly, and then we're at the very end. If you want to keep up with SEO, subscribe to the newsletter at SEO Roundtable. It summarizes all the SEO news from around once a day. I used to subscribe to 10 different SEO newsletters from different websites. I subscribe to only this one now. I can't keep track of everything. And so follow the official Google Webmasters account on Twitter, and John Moo is like the lead search guy. And finally, I use a tracking spreadsheet to track progress. So you can see here, you don't have to track all of these metrics. You can track 5 of them. You do this once a month, and you can see here, back in 9/20, I was the 9 millionth ranked. This website was the 9 millionth ranked website in the US. Then it got down to 1.5 million. It was 10 millionth on Alexa. Then it's down to 2 million. This is the Google impressions. I'm getting They used to be week by week, but month by month. Google Analytics users, the backlinks, the Bing clicks, the Bing impressions, my Woo rank, all kinds of stuff. So you just track this stuff. And it's something you just do once a month. As many metrics as these are, I don't even know if that's a correct sentence. This takes me 30 minutes once a month to do. Right? It's not that complicated. But if you just did like similar web ranking, Google Analytic clicks, Bing impressions, Google Analytic impressions, that'll give you a good idea of where the trend's going. So hopefully this helped. I know it's a ton. It's way overwhelming, but just think of this as a multi-year long project. this isn't like a homework assignment. This is your business. This is your livelihood. So this is something you slowly. So what I would do, I would make a little matrix. I would put all the one-time things on the left and all the ongoing things on the right. I would prioritize the one-time things and go knock those out. Then you can start working on the ongoing things as you go, but prioritize those. And you're not going to be able to do all the ongoing things. You would need a full-time staff of SEO people, but try two or three things at a time. Whatever wasn't work, stop it and move to something else. Certain things work in certain industries and doesn't for others. And sometimes it's not industry, it's by location, or it's by whatever, a combination of the two. So hopefully this helps, and I'm definitely here to reach out to answer any questions.